Here we go with part 2 of the video series here, if you want to call it that. Back to the fun stuff here. We got, you can see on here, these are some stamp marks from when they stamped these bumpers. And a lot of times the factory, you don't even fix none of this stuff, but you can still see this even when the bumper's on the car, because it's kind of like on the edge. I'll kind of show you how it fits over here, but I'm actually taking some off of this edge too to be able to tuck the bumper in without cutting the fender all up, because the fenders are, you know, in a good shape. There's no reason to be chopping up on them. So I'm gonna try to do this and film at the same time here. All right, so you can see I'm taking some metal off. I'm gonna grind those down, and then I'll finish them in like 80 and 180. That way when you go to chrome them, most of the metal work is done. And you can see how this sucker fits in there. It tucks in real nice. From back here, you can't even really see it at all. It's pretty much flush with the fender. And it just fits so much nicer. I mean, you can see the cut lines on everything. It's a fairly simple modification, you know. I'd call this the mild version. You know, you could go crazy with it if you wanted and cut all into the fender, and it's just a little overkill. It's not really necessary unless that's a look you're going for. Here's the piece for the left side. And you can see I just ran over with the grinder, got the stamp marks out of it, got it smooth, then just came back with a little 180 on the DA. You can hit it with a surfacing disc. The trick is to just keep that DA flat on your metal and follow like you would blocking body work, you know, so you don't ripple the metal up. That way when they chrome it, it's, you know, fairly straight. This piece, you know, you can see it has some waves, and it's been around the block a few times, but once they get it over there, they'll straighten all that, metal finish it, and, you know, it'll be nice and straight. So it's just good to clean up some of that stuff. You can see they got some gouges like up here on the top. Some of them I was able to take down, and they got some low spots. I'll tap it out and get it straight, and then sand a little more. You can use some Dykem, which is like a machinist dye I use on sheet metal sometimes too, and it'll kind of show you where your low spots are. You can tap them out, sand it a little bit, and then it'll still show you, you know, how much more you got to move the metal. You can see on here how much more thinner the edges on one to the other. So one fits nicely to the fender, and one's still a little too much. So you take some of that in, and then it tucks behind the fender, so you don't really see how much edge it has. As long as you have this rolled edge, it'll look nice. If you have a chopped off edge, it'll look terrible. So you always want to keep that rolled edge. And it gives the metal some strength too. If you get rid of that angle, I mean, we still got this line, but that's what gives the metal its strength. Like if you B-roll a panel, and it's flat metal, it's all floppy, and you run, take the B-roll machine, you run a bead through it, it's what gives it the strength. That's why you see, you know, floor pans and body lines in cars, those are all there for a reason. So it doesn't sound like a tin can when you're driving it down the street. You can see I smoothed out. You see these stamp lines on here. Compared to this one, there's no more stamp lines left. This one I got to dolly out because I'd have to take out too much metal to bring this one down. It's got like a crease right in the middle, so I'm gonna straighten that, and then I'll finish following that down smooth, and then that'll be good. Got some tack welds. I just put like 2 right here. because I know I'll probably have to cut off and do some mods. You can change the angle of your grinds on one side if you wanted to keep your gaps still tight, and if you wanted to draw in the side of this, it helps out if needed. I mean, there's many different ways you can do it, but you can see it looks pretty uniform to the side of the car here. You see I got this Sharpie, and you kind of, I'll show you right here. So we know it's pretty uniform right there. And just make the other side match that. I'm gonna lift this bumper up like that, and the gap will be good. Bumper's still loose. Gives you an idea. Look at it from the top. We're still following this curve here. The point won't line up anymore. I mean, it didn't really line up from the factory. It was over a little bit, but it still looks way better, you know? And we could always kind of round this point off if we wanted to, maybe dull it out a little bit, but the way the light is on this thing, it's got like a sharp molding on it. Changes the look of the car. But that it's sticking way out. And then this bolt hole, all I gotta do on the bracket is I'll just cut that piece out and just, basically you can almost cut out a rectangle and flip it 180 and it'll be pretty close where it needs to be. Then you can use your factory bumper bolts. Or you can just weld them to the bracket, weld the bolt holes up to the bracket, weld the bracket to the bumper. Costs a little more to ship all that stuff for them to, you know, dip it in the chrome everything, but it cleans it up when you don't use the bolt holes either. Sitting the bumper back this far, you'll run into a little clearance issues. So here on this piece, probably pot metal or aluminum or something. I'll find out in a minute when I start grinding on it. But I'm gonna clearance all of this right here. Just drew one here with a silver Sharpie. Man, the silver Sharpies are the best. For drawing on steel, metal. I love the silver because it shows up on some of these darker surfaces. They work great. You can see right on this black paint on here. So I'm gonna shave this down, that way I can keep trying to move this bumper back as far as possible. I had it tacked on there, but as I pushed back, it started to swing this out because I can't see behind there what it's doing. So some of this stuff, you just kind of cut it, move it, cut it, and as you move stuff, you're running into other little issues. And that's why, you know, you just kind of gotta wing it on some of this stuff because every car is different. You're running a, you know, different set of issues with any kind of body modifications, but you just get to it and roll with it. And here they got a body line right here on the side. It's kind of a faint one. If you take and you put it up here against the body, you can, you know, flush this and it'll tell you, you know, roughly that it's the same to compare from one side to the other side. Just to give you a reference point, because some of these cars, you know, nothing's flat or straight on them. You know, like here you can see a straight edge all the way. And this one's about a 16th in. But I can pull it out a little bit more when I'm welding. Just, I mean, I only got a few tacks on here, nothing major. Still might do some more stuff, like might add some metal in here, kind of bring this back a little bit, tighten up the gap. I noticed a couple of things on here. The way these line up, like right here, don't look too bad. Center's out pretty good here. But this doesn't even remotely line up. See this line right here, it comes in. You can see this angle of this. It's not even there. So I could kind of reshape this edge right here and bring it back, and it would make it look a little more uniform, and it wouldn't take but a couple of minutes to do. And the same thing on this side, you know, maybe bring this back a little bit. I mean, we are going to be painting these, I believe, instead of chroming them. So we can do some different stuff like that, change the look. Stay tuned for the next video. Go make something cool. Peace.